From what I saw in the trailer, I thought this would have been a much darker character, but it was more comical. I know some critics didn't like how comical it was, but I was laughing the whole time.
I don't know if it's supposed to be comical. I don't know.
But did you laugh?
A couple times, but I was like, am I supposed to be laughing?
Oh, I guess that it works.
He just seems a little childish.
But were you entertained?
Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained?
Well, it wasn't as good as Gladiator. I can tell you that.
Yeah, an interesting fact is that the mental condition called Napoleon complex was coined from this Napoleon. It means being an asshole because you have a short dick, right?
It's this idea that he's short in stature, which we know now that he was not short in comparison to most people in that time. Like in the French society, he would have been average. But the victors write the history. In the Western world, our view of Napoleon, in my opinion, is probably tainted a little bit because we're looking at it from the perspective of the British who defeated him. And of course, as Americans, we have the English version of the way things went. And I've often wondered that. I've often wondered, what did the French think and how would they view him in comparison to the way we view him? He's always been portrayed as a villain, as a small man and all these things. And I wonder how much of that is propaganda. I know that the French critics didn't like this movie. They think that they're mistreating his character and they're not portraying him accurately. He did seem to cry a lot. Was he this weepy in real life?
Is this because it's an English director directing a French hero?
That's the question that's going to arise. But at the same time, I was thinking about this: what better actor to play Napoleon? I mean, I can't think of anybody else that would do a better job than Joaquin. He looks like he would be the perfect choice to play. His stature, his face, he just seems to fit that profile very well.
Yeah, I mean, there's also more cartoony moments than I expected, but I mean, they worked for me. Did they work for you?
It felt like Ridley Scott was trying to make a Stanley Kubrick movie. Like this was his version of Barry Lyndon, which I don't know if you've ever seen Barry Lyndon, but it's a period piece just like that. And it has some of that Stanley Kubrick type artistic stuff that goes on where people do act a little strange. I never thought of Ridley Scott as an artistic director in that way.
He's more romanticized, more dramatic.
Yes, there was definitely some off-putting and uncomfortable moments, and maybe that was the whole point, was to make you feel a little bit uncomfortable. If there's a flaw in this movie, it's that Napoleon is too big for a 2.5-hour movie. If you're going to tell the story of Napoleon, you have 3 stories. You have Napoleon, the military genius, and the military campaigns. You have Napoleon and his relationship with Josephine, the love story, and then you have the political stuff. It's hard to fit all of that into one movie. It seemed to move really quick because he's trying to get so much into the story.
Yeah, what impressed me most is the action. Every action sequence has a clear goal. I know what will happen if he doesn't win this battle, so I care about what happens.
Yes.
What's crazy about back in the day, how they do war is they just face each other in the field with rifles and there's a drummer and they're waving flags. Like, this is so dumb.
Mm-hmm. I think the strength of the movie, besides the battle sequences, was the relationship between Josephine and Napoleon, because it's obvious that they loved each other, but it was unhealthy, almost abusive thing that was going on, right? The best thing about it as far as performances was Vanessa Kirby. I thought she was fantastic.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I thought she was better as Josephine than he was as Napoleon. She was a complicated character because she could easily have been like a lot of characters in her position where she was playing him the whole time, where she was using him for his power, she was using him for his money, for living this lavish lifestyle. But you find, as the story goes, that she's crying real tears and she really does love him. She was the best part of the movie.
I hate to say this, but I don't like how the movie ended. The story had so much potential for, a heartfelt, emotional ending, but it felt flat. It just tells you what happened, then it's up to you now how to feel about it. But maybe Ridley Scott wanted to do something else. How Gladiator ended with, "Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained?"
Yeah, Napoleon doesn't have that moment.
Now, Gladiator was an exceptional ending. I loved the way that one ended.
Yeah, rate this movie from 1 to 10.
Wow, this is hard. It's hard because it reminds me of other historical movies where I love the history and I love the spectacle. I love the battle scenes, but I think it's very uneven because, like I said, they're trying to cram so much into a 2.5-hour movie. I mean, if he had made it 3-4 hours,
You want it longer.
There's tons of battles that they didn't include because they can't. They don't have time. Just in a hurry sometimes. They were in such a hurry. Like he had a second wife. She's on screen for what? A minute?
Yeah.
That's a whole part of his life that they just went over it like that.
But that's if you know about Napoleon. What if you judge the movie as somebody who doesn't know about Napoleon?
I think it did a decent enough job of giving you an overview.
Because most of people don't know Napoleon.
I don't think he left out anything super important. If I was going to rate it, I would give it a 7.
Yeah, for me, I think I'd give it a 7 too. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video, in the spoiler video, where we'll talk about what we like and don't like about Napoleon, and we're going to break it down.